The tragic case of Nola Dinkins, a mother's deception and a child's unspeakable end. The initial report emerged as a desperate plea for help. On June 10th, authorities received a missing person report concerning 3-year-old Nola Dinkins. This seemingly straightforward call would soon unravel into a horrifying narrative of abuse and deception. The report was filed by Nola's own mother, Darrian Randle. Her account painted a picture of a sudden and violent abduction, immediately raising alarms within law enforcement. The urgency of the situation was palpable. Based on Randle's initial harrowing account, an Amber Alert was swiftly issued. This critical public safety tool was activated to disseminate information about the missing child, urging the public to be vigilant and assist in her recovery. The community held its breath, hoping for Nola's safe return. However, the investigation quickly took a dark and devastating turn. What began as a search for a missing child transformed into a grim discovery that shocked even seasoned investigators. The hope for Nola's safe return was tragically extinguished. Nola's remains were discovered not long after the Amber Alert was issued. Her tiny body was found concealed within a suitcase, a chilling detail that immediately suggested foul play and a deliberate attempt to hide the truth. The discovery sent a wave of horror through the community. The suitcase containing Nola's remains was located in a vacant lot. This desolate setting underscored the callousness of the act, a stark contrast to the innocence of the child whose life had been so cruelly cut short. The scene was a testament to unspeakable cruelty. The precise location of this tragic discovery was Northeast Maryland. This geographical detail became central to the unfolding investigation, marking the site where the full extent of the tragedy began to emerge. It was a place that would forever be associated with Nola's final moments. Forensic identification confirmed the worst fears. The remains found within the suitcase were positively identified as those of Nola Dinkins. This confirmation solidified the case as a homicide, shifting the focus from a missing person search to a murder investigation. Please like and subscribe if you're new to the channel. Unraveling the false narrative and shifting investigation. The mother's initial story, which had prompted the Amber Alert, quickly began to unravel under scrutiny. Darrian Randle had claimed Nola was abducted by an unknown man at gunpoint, a dramatic and terrifying scenario designed to mislead investigators. Her fabricated narrative was elaborate. Randle further embellished her story, asserting that the alleged suspect fled the scene in a dark-colored SUV. She even provided a description of the driver, claiming it was a white female. These details were intended to create a plausible, yet entirely false, lead for law enforcement. However, police quickly determined that Randle's initial account was entirely false. Inconsistencies and a lack of corroborating evidence exposed the deception. The realization that the mother had lied about such a critical event was deeply disturbing. Consequently, the Amber Alert, which had mobilized significant resources and public attention, was subsequently canceled. The cancellation signaled a critical shift in the investigation, moving away from a search for an abductor and towards a focus on those closest to Nola. The public was left to grapple with the shocking revelation. With the mother's story debunked and Nola's body discovered, the case was reclassified as a homicide investigation. This reclassification marked a somber turning point, acknowledging the brutal reality of Nola's death and the need to pursue justice for her. The focus became identifying and apprehending those responsible. The Maryland State Police took over the lead in the investigation. Their expertise in complex criminal cases was crucial in navigating the intricate details and piecing together the events that led to Nola's death. This transition ensured a thorough and comprehensive inquiry. It is important to note that the new Castle County Police in Delaware initially responded to the missing person report. Their initial efforts were vital in the early stages, before the true nature of the case became apparent. The multi-jurisdictional involvement highlighted the complexity of the situation. Horrific details of abuse and death, The condition of Nola's body upon discovery revealed a horrifying truth about her final days. She was found emaciated, a stark indicator of severe neglect and starvation. This physical state spoke volumes about the suffering she endured before her death. Even more disturbing was the discovery that Nola's body had been completely wrapped in saran wrap. This act suggested a deliberate and desperate attempt to conceal her remains and prevent their decomposition, further highlighting the calculated nature of the crime. It was a chilling detail that underscored the depravity involved. The alleged cause of Nola's death emerged from the subsequent investigation and admissions. Darrian Randle, Nola's mother, allegedly admitted to beating her daughter with a belt. This confession painted a grim picture of the violence Nola suffered at the hands of her primary caregiver. The brutal beating allegedly occurred on June 9th, the day before Nola was reported missing. The location of this horrific assault was identified as the home of Cedric Antoine Britton, Randle's boyfriend. This detail implicated Britton's residence as the scene of the fatal abuse. Nola was reportedly beaten until she became unconscious. This detail is particularly harrowing, indicating the extreme severity of the assault and the complete disregard for the child's well-being. The violence inflicted upon a defenseless 3-year-old is almost incomprehensible. Accused individuals and charges. Following the initial investigation and the unraveling of her false narrative, Darrian Randle, Nola's mother, was arrested. The evidence gathered pointed directly to her involvement in the child's death, leading to her immediate apprehension. Her deception had come to an end. Randle was subsequently charged with first-degree murder. This grave charge reflects the prosecution's belief that Nola's death was premeditated or occurred during the commission of another serious felony. It signifies the highest level of culpability under the law. She also faced charges of second-degree murder. This charge typically applies when there is intent to cause serious bodily harm or a reckless disregard for human life that results in death, but without the element of premeditation. It provides an alternative legal avenue for prosecution. Furthermore, Darrian Randle was charged with first-degree child abuse, resulting in the death of a minor under 13. This specific charge directly addresses the horrific nature of the crime, emphasizing the abuse inflicted upon a vulnerable child and its fatal outcome. It underscores the profound breach of parental duty. Cedric Antoine Britton, Darrian Randle's boyfriend, was also implicated in the tragedy. He was initially arrested on charges of accessory to murder after the fact. This charge suggests his involvement in concealing the crime or assisting Randle after Nola's death. Britton was also initially charged with failure to report a child's death. This charge highlights his legal and moral obligation to notify authorities about Nola's demise, an obligation he allegedly neglected. His inaction contributed to the cover-up. As the investigation progressed, Britton later faced additional, more severe charges, including child abuse resulting in death. This escalation in charges indicates that investigators uncovered evidence suggesting his direct involvement in the abuse that led to Nola's demise. His role was deemed more significant than initially thought. Other charges against Britton included general child abuse and child neglect. These charges further illustrate the pattern of mistreatment Nola endured within the household. They paint a picture of a child living in an environment devoid of care and safety. Evidence and admissions. A critical piece of evidence in the investigation came from Cedric Antoine Britton himself. He allegedly provided a map to police that directly led them to Nola's body inside the suitcase. This admission was pivotal in locating the child and confirming the grim reality of her fate. Britton's alleged cooperation, whether voluntary or coerced, was instrumental in breaking the case open. His knowledge of the body's location suggested a direct connection to the concealment of Nola's remains. This detail became a cornerstone of the prosecution's case. The discovery of the map and its subsequent use by law enforcement underscored the calculated efforts to dispose of Nola's body. It revealed a deliberate attempt to hide the crime, further complicating the investigation but ultimately leading to the truth. The map was a silent, damning witness. This piece of evidence, combined with Randle's alleged admissions and the forensic findings, began to construct a comprehensive picture of the events leading to Nola's death. The puzzle pieces were slowly, tragically, falling into place. The full scope of the horror was becoming clear. The case of Nola Dinkins stands as a stark reminder of the vulnerabilities of children and the profound responsibility of caregivers. It highlights the critical role of law enforcement in uncovering truth amidst deception and pursuing justice for the most defenseless among us. The legal proceedings continue to seek accountability for this unspeakable tragedy.